Everyone in the galaxy thinks we humans are strange, foolish. But truth be told, they think our biggest weakness is our heart. Meet Corporal Vance. Vance was no high-ranking medic of the Central Fleets. Burned skin mapped his jawline from a mortar blast on the border worlds. Dark, hollow craters sat under his eyes from 3 standard days of non-stop emergency shifts. His hands always, well, they shook a little whenever he tore open a fresh packet of sterile medical gauze. He was just a low-tier field nurse stationed at a ruined, mud-soaked outpost on the edge of the rim. The battle had been brutal, and the triage tent was overflowing with smoke and the stench of burnt metal. The high-ranking alien officers at the command post had already fled. Their minds were small. They only saw a losing battle. They only saw their own skin. Then, a crumpled figure was dragged into the tent by a retreating drone. Her body was covered in deep, crimson scales that were cracked and oozing thick, glowing fluid. A wet, rhythmic clicking echoed weakly from her mandibles as she struggled to breathe. Her 4 eyes stared out like empty, bottomless pits, glazed over with pain. Vance didn't ask for her rank. He didn't check her species profile. The human dressed the alien Empress's wounds, unaware she was the most powerful warrior in the galaxy. He just saw someone bleeding out on his table. The medic drone let out a warning chime, its screen flaring red with danger alerts. To any alien, touching a high-tier warrior in her state was a death sentence. Their bodies radiated kinetic energy when damaged. But Vance didn't flinch. Thick gray dust from the trenches coated his heavy combat boots. His breath dragged heavy in his chest, but his shaking hands became, suddenly, perfectly still. He reached into his kit, grabbed a heavy bottle of stinging antiseptic, and poured it directly onto her torn scales. The alien woman let out a low, terrifying hiss that shook the metal poles of the tent, her sharp, segmented tail snapping just inches from his throat like rusted metal. The hidden wounded soldiers in the corner waited for the scream. They thought she would tear the human apart. They thought he would drop to his knees and beg for mercy. But Vance just leaned over her, his jaw set like granite. He wrapped his fingers around a heavy iron clamp, stabilizing her fractured shoulder plate. He looked straight into those 4 dark eyes and said, "Your Highness, or whoever you are, you can hiss all you want, but you're leaking fluid on my clean floor. If you want to kill me, do it after I patch this artery. Until then, shut up and hold still. Humans don't look at the size of the threat when someone is broken. We fight for the soul. And right now, your soul is trying to leave your body. Without a single doubt, without wasting a heartbeat, he worked through the night, stitching her thick hide and packing the deep plasma burns with raw, unyielding human focus. Alien logic shattered right there on the floor. By morning, the enemy fleet breached the perimeter, their heavy dreadnoughts darkening the sky. The alien commanders in the towers expected the outpost to surrender. They thought we were weak, but they didn't know who was sitting in Vance's triage tent. The Empress stood up, her wounds perfectly dressed in white human bandages, her iridescent scales rippling with a sudden, terrifying power. She drew her legendary energy blade, looking at Vance one last time before stepping out into the storm to obliterate the entire invading force single-handedly. The aliens still sit in their high towers, texting, trying to find the military logic behind why the most feared ruler in the universe saved a broke human outpost. But truth is, humans are just built different. The night is getting late. So, what do you think? We humans really are strange, aren't we?